Cobra Kai.
Kidding.
Hey,
Finally.
nice to meet you. Oh my God, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
He's my idol now. So.
Daniel with an L.
Tornado warnings, COVID cancellations. We're here.
I know. Finally, it was a journey, but
It was a journey, but we got here.
yeah. So how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Oh, good.
I have to say,
I'm so sorry. We got to do one more with creatives and actors, and then you got it.
you're good.
Then
I'll be
you got
right
it.
back.
Okay.
If it's not a tornado
I know,
warning,
it's always something. We'll get it.
we're back. We have 2 minutes.
We're back.
Let's
2
do
minutes.
it.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so one of the things that I love about Karate Kid is like I just love Daniel with like like his temper tantrum. I was like, I just want to go home and the accent. And you do the accent in the musical. So like, how did you study Ralph's performance? How did you get the accent down?
Well, I was aware of the dialect because of the film, and obviously Ralph Macchio is from Long Island, so he's kind of got that natural swagger and that charisma. So what I did was I actually got in touch with a friend of mine from college who has turned dialect coaching into a career, and I set up a session with her, and myself and Kate and a few other cast members sat on Zoom with her while she went through the script with us and was like, okay, these are how your mouth this is how your mouth should shift in order to produce these sounds so that we could sustain it for the full 2-hour show. So it's been a long process, but yeah, I mean, I did a little bit of listening to Ralph and a little bit of studying that Long Island dialect and a little bit of Newark, New Jersey, and just sort of fused it all together, and out she came.
That's great. So you did a lot of pre-homework.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's great. I'm curious, like Daniel LaRusso, his story is just so interesting. Like moving to a new state, being the new kid, getting bullied. Have you ever experienced can you relate to Daniel in any way? Have you ever had an experience similar to him?
Oh my God, absolutely. I mean, I grew up in a very small town, and I was a figure skater, which when you're in high school is maybe not the coolest thing to do. I loved musicals. I was acting, I was singing, I was dancing. I was not at the top of the popularity chart, but you know what? That's okay because I owned it. And when I went on to school and started making a name for myself and making a career for myself, as you grow older, you have your own heroic moment where you realize that none of that stuff ever mattered. And so, but absolutely, I mean, I don't think that our high school experiences were all that polar opposite. Yeah. Me and Daniel.
If you changed who you are then, you wouldn't be where you are now.
Absolutely. So don't do that.
Yeah,
Change for no one.
There you go. So you're being the lead of this musical, playing Daniel LaRusso. A lot of fans, like Karate Kid, it's like religious to them. So what was it like coming into this, knowing that this isn't just a brand new thing? This is the Karate Kid musical. You're Daniel.
Oh my gosh. I mean, when I first found out about it, there was a lot of pressure. I was like, I know that the following that this franchise has is such a devoted one. And so I wanted to deliver this iconic character that they've all fallen in love with. But at the same time, I was like, that's a responsibility that I really can't hold for myself and do my job. So I was like, okay, I am not Ralph Macchio. I'm going to put that performance where it is and honor the foundation and bring myself to it as much as I can. And I think it was actually in an interview that you gave, I'm going to quote you right now, which is that this show is not meant to tamper with or replace the original. It is simply an expansion of the Miyagi verse. It's something else to love, not to replace, and so I hope that people will come and see the show and think, okay, yeah, this is another version of Daniel that we get to see and that we get to enjoy, and yeah.
Definitely.
So sorry, we have to take him over to.
Oh, yes,
all
right.
Absolutely. Okay, here we go.
Good to see you. Hi.
Let's talk.
How are you doing?
So good.
Oh
How
my
are you
God.
doing?
Good. It's great to see you again.
So great to see you again.
Yeah. So Alli in this musical.
Yes.
You have a lot of the especially the second time I watched it, I noticed a lot of the Elizabeth Shue-ness.
I'm so glad. Thank you for noticing that. I watched Karate Kid again after my callback. Oh my gosh, the Kreese is so
Oh my God.
What a special moment in history. But yeah, I watched Karate Kid after my callback because I didn't want it to influence what I did in the room, just because I know they wanted new things and a new take to everything. But there were so many things I love about Elizabeth Shue's Alli. Like, she's just so likable and so warm and friendly. There's so many. But yeah, how could you not love her? Like, she was just so wonderful. So I tried to bring that warmth and energy to Alli in this version as well, because it's like, my mom said, she was like, you have to believe that two guys would want to fight over her. And I was like, okay, well, that's a tough sell, but if Elizabeth Shue can do it, I can just do what she was doing and hope for the best. Yeah. But yeah.
There's some theories that Alli is the true villain.
Ooh.
Have you heard these theories?
No, I haven't heard them, but I believe them. Yes,
You think she's the villain?
I think, no, I don't think she's the villain. But I do think that Alli knows a lot more than people give her credit for. I think she gets it right away. And I think she's totally, truly herself from the moment we meet her. Even if she's figuring it out, because she's only 17, she's still... How old are you, by the way?
I'm 19.
19? Nice. We were all guessing in the back. Hi. But yeah, we were all guessing. But yeah, 17 is obviously a pivotal age, as you know.
Yes.
I didn't know anything at 17, but I feel like Alli at least knows who she wants to be, and that is so important for her, and it's important that everybody around her understand that. And I think Daniel is represents everything she wants to be now. He's this new person. He doesn't have expectations of her yet, and Johnny represents everything she no longer wants to be and everything she's rejecting, rejecting quite literally, because she's constantly rejecting him. But yeah, so I think that Alli may not be the villain, but she's definitely a strong lady for sure. Yeah.
So as you mentioned, Alli in this one, and I know Drew has said it, Drew Gasparini, and multiple people have said it, and I've seen it, Alli has a bit of more of an edge in this musical, just standing up for herself, and getting like more screen time, like you know, the college, like her song about college. I love that song, by the way. That was a great number.
I heard you singing it in your review, and I was like, he's killing it. That's exactly how it sounds.
I know I messed up some of the words.
Nope,
but
it was perfect, and I'm gonna sing it just that way.
Giovanni, hi.
I wanted to introduce myself.
Drew.
Say hello. Thank you so much for coming and being so supportive.
Thank you for bringing this to life. I'm loving this. This is amazing.
Well, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's great to have such a passionate fan who appreciates something that's kind of outside of the Miyagi verse, but kind of Miyagi verse adjacent. Is that a good way of putting it?
Yeah.
It kind of exists in its own thing. So
it's its own thing, and then it ties in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so great to meet you, and you know, obviously, Mr. Miyagi, Pat Morita is such an important character.
Oh my God! Yeah, I told everyone. I mean, you got to understand, right? Like, for a whole generation of Asian actors, Pat Morita was the guy, right? It's him, George Takei, because nobody else was representing us on the small screen or the big screen. So, I mean, I was so blown away because I was about like the age Daniel was in '84. Yeah, when I first saw the movie, and it had such a profound effect on me because of seeing Miyagi, because of seeing what Pat Morita did. So he's like a hero to so many of us, and I'm very aware these are big shoes to fill.
And you do a great job. You transform into it
thank you.
that. How long did it take to like how much do you study Pat's performance and like the accent and his movements? Because you really got it. Like, even like when he's trimming the bonsais, like you do a great job.
Oh, thanks. Not at all. I mean, I've seen the movie several times, but I'm not a big believer in trying to copy someone because I'm not him. I'm me. And I mean, he's the guy. He created the character. I just have to do it the way I do it. So I'm sure it's kind of embedded in my memory and in the physicality, but I don't consciously try to emulate anything he did. I just took it. I approached it like I'd approach any role of trying to tackle the character.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, like, because there's going to be some people who watch this musical who haven't seen the Karate Kid movies, and you're going to be their first introduction to Mr. Miyagi and the lessons. So I'm curious, what, like, lesson, if someone's watching this for the first time, do you hope that they learn from Mr. Miyagi? What's the most key lesson?
I think he sums it up at the beginning. Life is balance, you know. It is, if you have balance in karate in life, you win. And that balance is realizing you're one part of an entire universe, And I think that's what his lesson to Daniel is, an awareness of things outside himself, an appreciation that kind of consciousness is what leads to that balance and harmony.
Yeah, I love that's my favorite lesson, the balance. Jovanni, it was so great meeting you.
Really great to meet you.
And I can't wait to see tonight's show.
Where are you sitting tonight?
I don't know where I'm sitting.
Because I saw you up front, and I saw you were in the mezzanine.
Oh, you saw me up there?
Well, no, I saw you in the front. I heard you were in the mezzanine for your second show, so I was just curious where you're seeing.
Yeah.
There's no bad seat for this,
There's
is there?
no bad seat.
Yeah.
I got two very different experiences in a good way.
Oh, yeah, the mezzanine's totally different because you're just looking. You get to see. Mezzanine's great if you're like a choreography geek.
Yeah.
Because then you get to see all the patterns a bit more clearly.
Yeah.
But, you know, the front row for seeing facial expressions of the actors is. Yeah.
And you're great. You're
Oh,
great.
thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Okay, okay, enjoy tonight.
Thank you. How's it going?
Good.
Yeah,
So
it's great
good
to meet you. I know, finally.
Oh my goodness.
I know we've been talking for a while. It's great to see you in person.
So glad you're here.
Yeah.
We thank you for all the love and support, and just your energy out there in the audience was like everything we needed.
Oh, thank you. Well, I have to tell you that like Kreese means so much to me. Like I love Martin Kove, I love John Kreese, like, and every time he comes like onto camera, his presence, like everything, nothing matters. It's just him. And you know that was the big thing with your character too. Even the music, it's like bum 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 bum. So I'm curious, like, what did you do like to make your presence felt in this musical as John Kreese?
You know, it's just, so here's the thing. Obviously, Martin Kove set an incredible template for like who this guy is. But I'm going to also add to the equation, I played football in Texas. And John Kreese is a lot of my coaches from back in the day. I had a lot of coaches that were John Kreese. So that is, with Martin Kove and some of my high school and college football coaches, that's where my Kreese came from. Yeah. Just that power. They walk into the room, they walk on the field, they walk into the locker room, and they just take control. You know they're the one that's in charge.
Yeah.
You know, that's Kreese.
Yeah. And I know you've been like Martin's been sharing the musical. I know you guys have spoke online. I mean, we know he's going to be here tonight. Are you looking forward to meeting him? And
Absolutely.
What would you want to like talk to him about or ask him if you meet him?
You know, I don't even know about that. I want a good picture with him. I want to thank him. And I just want to like say hi to him, you know. It's been so cool, and hopefully he'll love the musical, and hopefully he'll love, you know, how I'm bringing Kreese to into a whole new form.
Yeah. And Martin Kove has always said Kreese isn't a villain. He's misunderstood.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing about playing bad, quote-unquote, bad guys. Nobody thinks they're bad. Everybody has baggage that they're bringing. And I always say, you know, hurt people, right? And so everybody's got a history. Everybody has stuff that was done to them that they ultimately do to other people. And so when you play these, you know, villain-like characters, you can't play them as bad folks. You just have to play them as human beings who make the types of choices that they make, you know. And I love the backstory that the musical's given Kreese to help explain some of what's going on in his mind and some of his decisions.
Yeah, it definitely explores more with, like, he mentions he's in the war. Like, you didn't really get that too much in the Karate Kid movies.
Yeah. That's not in the movies. Certainly it's in Cobra Kai in the series, but, you know, just to give a little bit of an explanation and to understand how somebody ends up making some of the choices that they make.
Yeah. And you and Jake Bentley Young, who plays Johnny, you guys, you guys like have such a great chemistry. Like, what's it like working with him, being like these two evil guys?
So let me tell you what. So when we did it together the first time, he was kind of young and fresh out of school. I love his story. He auditioned for this through something called Backstage. He didn't have an agent. He just self-submitted and got this job. And then between the workshop and here in St. Louis, he's been taking karate classes to get himself together to make sure he can level up. And he has really leveled up. But when we first met, you know, I've been around for a minute. Okay, so I've done some of these these things before, right? And so when we first met after the first couple of days, I pulled him aside. I said, okay, look, I'm going to be fierce in this, and I'm going to need you to be fierce too, because we're going to be fierce together. We're going to be a good team. And he was like, it was very much like, okay, Alan, okay, Sensei. I mean, it was a very real, like, Sensei-student relationship, initially, but now, of course, he's my boy. We have a great time, and we just have an understanding. We have a vocabulary. As an actor, particularly when you're physical with each other, I'm pushing him around and all that kind of stuff. You have to really trust each other to do that. So basically what we did is I came up with a vocabulary, like, here are all the different possible ways that I'm going to hit you or push you or touch you or scare you. I don't know when I'm going to do that. Every night might be a little bit different, but here's the vocabulary of what it is. And so he's like, bring it. So we just have a trust, and you really have to have that when you're working so closely and so intimately together. Yeah.
And obviously you're very different than John Kreese in real life. I'm curious, do you do anything in particular to get yourself in the zone? Like, I hate everyone, I hate all of this.
What I actually realize I'm doing is I'm acting stupider off stage, because there's such a ferociousness in Kreese that I have to immediately get into. It's almost more about how I get out of it. So that I can get into it, because I know Kreese. I know that guy. Like I said, I played football with lots of creases, so I can get into it. But what is interesting is getting out of it. So I'm particularly stupid and bouncing off the walls and acting like a fool, and that helps me kind of literally, no pun intended, find the balance of playing the part and being a real person off stage.
Yeah. I have one more question for you. You've worked on a bunch of musicals, so I'm curious how this one in particular compares to the other ones you've been
doing. Actually, not only have I worked on a bunch of musicals, I've worked on a bunch of musicals that are based on movies. For whatever reason, I've done 11 of them. 3 on Broadway, and I'm involved in several others happening right now. And one of the things I love about this is that, in my opinion, when you're adapting a movie for a musical, you have to give people some of their expectation, right? You can't take the movie and just turn it into something different. You got to meet an expectation, but then you got to also figure out a way to present it with something new and something exciting and different that the movie didn't do. And I really think our choreography, the movement element, is what really lifts it off the page in a way that the film just didn't do. Keone and Mari, what they do to this, and the specifics of the Cobra Kai vocabulary, and then the Miyagi vocabulary. I just think what they do just lifts the whole thing off the page. And of course, Drew's tunes are just incredible, and then Amon's Japanese eye. It's just such a beautiful. All the cooks are right, and they're cooking together, and the dish is just delicious.
Strike first, strike hard. No Mercy is the best. That's my favorite. That's awesome.
That's literally a world of choreography, music, actor, dancers. It just has come together in an incredible way, and I love Strike First. Just out the gate, strike first, strike hard, no mercy.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Alan, it was
Thanks
so great
much.
meeting you.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you so much.
Thanks, Drew.
Thanks for coming out. It's crazy. How are you liking it?
I'm loving St. Louis. I'm loving the musical.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy to be a part of this thing. It's so beautiful, and all these people. Oh, my heart's so full.
Yeah, you guys are great. So, Freddie in the musical.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about Freddie. So, a lot different than the film. You actually have a lot bigger of a role. You're friends with Daniel. You don't just leave him aside. You're there for him. So what's it like playing this character, but kind of adding more to it?
Yeah, it was beautiful to after seeing the movie and getting because I thought that it was gonna be similar or whatever. So once I realized that it was a kind of a separate its own adaptation, a whole other thing, I was oh, okay, and just bringing that to life and being able to show that Freddie's more than just this kid who comes in and then leaves him for dead. He actually kind of lifts him up a little bit, and it's great. I loved it, and it's also the message of making your dreams come true. It's what I'm kind of going through right now myself, because being with all these people and doing what I want to do, and it's beautiful.
And Broadway's the next stage, hopefully. So
yeah,
what are you?
Who knows? The possibilities are endless. So wherever this show goes, I wish everyone a part of it the best. And if I'm there, I'm 10 times happier. Obviously, I'm on the moon.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I hope you enjoy St. Louis.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I'm supposed to walk. I don't know.
Okay.
Never done this before.
Yeah. You want to talk? I would love to talk to you. That'd be great. Yeah.
How are we doing, Drew?
We're doing great, Drew. How are you doing?
I'm A+, man. I feel great.
The composer, the lyricist.
You got a camera crew? Jesus Christ, this is legit. What's up, Cobra Kai kids?
Gotta go out. Strike first, strike hard.
Strike first,
No
strike
mercy.
hard. That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah. So, all right. So you compose all the music, all the lyrics for
Yes.
this. I'm curious. What do you want like fans to really like from listening to the songs? What do you want them to like take away from hearing this soundtrack?
I want them, especially if they're Karate Kid fans, I really want them to see this and know that what the songs are doing is enhancing these characters that we have all fallen in love with. They're not to distract us from the story. They're just to make the entire thing deeper and better. That's how I have kind of approached this, and that's what I hope people walk away with, is that, wow, we learned something about these characters we've known for 40 years. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. And what's been your favorite part about working on this as a whole?
Oh, right now there's an open bar over there, so that's one of them. Honestly, just hearing from fans has been really cool because the Karate Kid is just like generations and generations of fans, and it's really cool to kind of get the support from a lot of them and the excitement saying, wow, this is so cool, another step in the Miyagi verse. That makes me excited, because we're taking them on the ride with us, and that's really, really cool.
Yeah. And what are you looking forward to most from tonight, especially world premiere?
Oh, like I said, that open bar over there is looking mighty good. This is like I leave after this. I got here with the cast, and they get to put it on, and they continue the run while I go back to New York and work on stuff. So it's kind of saying bye to my little ducklings, and off they go. I'm really proud of everybody who's worked on this show. It's wild, man.
You're like a parent, like sending them off to college.
That's exactly right. Yes, exactly, and shedding a tear as they go. But yeah, that's exactly right.
And last question, pertaining to that, like seeing, like working with the cast from the beginning. I believe a year ago is when like the auditions first started,
yeah,
right?
Just about. Yeah, that's right.
So how has this cast in particular like grown like through your eyes in that span?
Well, I was just talking about this with somebody. Literally every day in rehearsal, there is the ripple effect. Like it's like dropping a pebble in a pond. You keep seeing the ripples grow and grow and grow and grow. Every day we get another ripple in one of these characters. Each one of these actors, no matter how big their role is within the show, has grown and grown and grown as performers. And this unit is so tight as a family. I just feel lucky to be a part of it, truly. Really, honestly.
Yeah. I could see it. I could see like the chemistry between all of the guys.
It's fun. I'm going to miss them. We're all pals, It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New York.
We'll see you there. Yeah!
No mercy. Drew.
You're the man. Good to see you.
You're the best, man. Thank you for
Absolutely.
everything.
Yes, of
I can't wait
course.
to talk spoilers. Like
Absolutely.
we'll do
One
another
day. It's
interview.
coming. It's
Like
coming. We'll be allowed to soon.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome.
Mr. Marty, we got Cobra Kai.
Hi.
Hey man, how
It's
are
so
you?
nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good.
So
Got your Cobra Kai shirt on.
Cobra Kai shirt.
Smart boy.
Well, I'm also repping the Miyagi though. I knew you might not like that.
It's all right.
But hey, I have that theory that Kreese will work with Daniel and John. You remember the theory? So maybe.
Yeah. I remember your theory. Yeah, you're very astute on all that. Yeah, and I always tell John and Hayden and the creators, I always tell them how impressed I am with your perception, but I can never agree with your perception because I can't give away anything, But my son Jesse, who was one of the guest stars in that episode where 1965, where it's the busboy episode, and you think he's me because he bullies the busboy, and. We often talk about you and how you are such a fan of the show, and you should be in this play.
Oh, thank you.
Nobody knows this stuff better than you,
Oh, thank you.
Did you go see Hayden?
I saw Hayden. I was like, oh, Hayden. That was great.
Where do you live?
I'm from New Jersey.
Oh, yeah, okay.
LaRusso.
Okay.
So, yeah. You started this whole thing, the Karate Kid, and now like where it is now, like with Cobra Kai and now the musical, it really seems like it's becoming Star Wars in a way, which I know that's what the Cobra Kai creators said they wanted it to be like Star Wars, and now you have Robert Kamen working on the musical. So what's it like seeing something that you started like expand into the musical and all of this?
Well, I believe it's all in the written word. I don't think anything like Star Wars, the Force be with you. If we didn't have that and other lines, if we didn't have no mercy, sweep the leg, Cobra Kai never dies. If you don't have those lines in there to create the iconic movie, or let's just say that constitutes the classic movie, you wouldn't be talking about this 40 years later. You wouldn't have this play. It is the written word. And Robert and I talk about this all the time. He says Miyagi and Daniel, the chemistry is what made the movie successful. I disagree with him all the time. What makes the movie successful is the written word and the development of the characters in any movie we know. And 1883, there's wonderful stuff on Paramount Plus. The character development is so rich, and it's an uphill battle to get a Western going. But you create a Western with a great character development, with a great plot, and that genre can return. So, Robert has done something that's just brilliant. We've now put music to a film constituted to the point of being a classic because of the writing. And it's all the writing, so it's all the writing in a play. You don't have a good writing in a play, who's going to go night 3, it's going to close. And you have good music. So I'm going to see all this tonight, and I'll let you know. But I'm sure his game is so tough. He would not be satisfied unless the Karate Kid, the musical, was hot.
Yeah. And you spoke to Alan Green. What did you guys talk about? And what is it like seeing basically your character, but now someone else playing you?
It's really interesting. And yet I know he's a dancer and he's a singer. And I wanted to audition for this piece, and came and said, "You can't. You're 35 years too young." And I sang to him on the phone, and I said, "Mercy is for the weak here and on the streets." I said, "I know all the lines, man." I said, that's half the battle in an audition. You have to memorize all the lines, And he says, "You're 35 years too weak. Forget it. Too old. Forget it."
And you were on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
You sing, so you have dancing, you have music talent.
I can dance, but the thing is, Dancing with the Stars, they wanted me to do the paso doble and be, the classical approach to the flamenco. And I can rock and roll. I mean, I wanted to do splits and do all these moves and stuff. I used to dance in contests, but it's not about that. It's formal, tough practicing 4 hours a day, and I couldn't do it. So it was very enjoyable to do, though. I mean, I really had a good time showing another side of John Kreese, which is why I did it. Yeah. I didn't want to, have only people think that John Kreese is a villain, because he isn't. He's just which is part of what you diagnose very well, is that John Kreese is a misunderstood character. Yeah. There's a vulnerability to him that might be hard to find sometimes. But the bottom line is, and we get more of it in season 4 and 5, that he is, a textured, vulnerable guy.
Yeah. I have one more question for you. The Cobra Kai creators, if they were to utilize your talents, would you ever want to see John Kreese maybe dance in the series? If it ever ended up, if there's some way of working it in.
Well, I'm very much for the versatility of any actor. I would love that. That would be great. We were just talking about having a great idea. John Kreese is admitted to an asylum like Cuckoo's Nest, and then he gets all these people in there, and he realizes he's not so crazy, and he's got to take care of all these weirdos, and he's not that strange himself. He's just a misunderstood villain, and I think I would be right in there for that. I'd like to see this character with a great deal of redemption in the upcoming seasons. And, contrary to Terry Silver, who's pure evil.
Yeah.
This guy is not. And this guy is tougher than Terry Silver. He's, I would fight to the death. I don't think Terry Silver would fight to the death. Yeah. So we'll see. And I've already saved Terry Silver's life. Now I want to put him back in the hole.
Yeah. Martin, I want to thank you so much. Like, Kreese and your performance, like, really just have meant so much to me. I'm just a huge fan of your performance. Like, anytime I see you in a scene, at, like, your interviews, you steal the show. You remind me just of my grandpa, who plays you in my parodies. Like, I really appreciate what you do.
Oh, you're good.
It's so nice.
You're very perceptive, and you'll be a good filmmaker when you make a real movie and you do stuff and you have the budget behind you and all that. I have a lot of confidence in you. I think you're going to do very well. Just hire me for a walk-on.
Oh, thank you, sir. Of course. Of course. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Take care of yourself. I'll talk to you after.
Okay, I'll talk to you after. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. It was nice meeting you. Oh.
Bonsai. You're the Cobra Kai kid.
How are you? Oh my God. I was like, who is that? Oh my God.
What is it like to be, a celebrity fan of, because that's, of Cobra Kai? What do you think about this? Do you think it's deserved? Do you think that you've earned your 200 and whatever thousand subscribers, or do you think it's just a fluke? What do you think?
Well, I started this about 3 years ago, just as a fan of the show.
Yes.
So, I've been I was on YouTube before, trying to put out videos, trying to get views.
And how many subscribers did you have before Cobra Kai?
100.
100 subscribers?
It was a different channel. But
you actually had 100 subscribers to something.
I did.
Prior to. So you had some success.
Yeah, some success. I mean, now I think it's...
1/200,000th of the success that you have now. But I got you.
Yeah, and so I made this channel, I made the Cobra Kai channel just to talk about the show. I no one to talk about it with.
Why not?
Because nobody watched it. It was on YouTube Red.
What are you talking about? YouTube Red was... Everybody watched YouTube Red. You had it. I had it.
Nobody... I only knew what it was because I was doing YouTube.
I think everybody had it, and nobody wanted to admit that they were paying for it. Okay? I think it was very popular, and it wasn't until Netflix came out that people actually felt comfortable coming out and saying, I know what this show is. No, I know... that was, so you started in 2019.
2019.
So that was season 2. Season 2 had just come out.
Season 2 had just come out.
Miguel was injured.
That was the big thing.
Yes.
That was the
what
big.
Was gonna happen?
Is he gonna die? Is Alli gonna save him? I know. Right? What was that period like? Because that was a 1.5 year period of like the fans, I think, were going crazy. I mean, I know I was going to.
Well, we knew what was happening. We shot the 3rd season already. That was the crazy thing. It's like we were sitting on, like, people were wondering what was going to happen to Miguel for like a long period of time, and I'm just like, Eagle Fang is coming.
Yeah.
You don't even know what's happening there. So it was a crazy period of time. Like, it was in limbo. The show was in limbo. I had faith that it would end up, coming back and. People would see everything because we shot a full season. So, but it worked out really well.
A question I've always been meaning to ask you. This is a big one.
Yes.
I'm very excited to hear how you answer this. If Thomasine Griffith said no.
There was no way. There was no way.
But what if? Because you started the series right before asking him.
There was no way. Everybody... Even the people, listen, it's just, we were put on this earth to bring Zapka back into people's, the public consciousness. And that was also just a springboard for Thomasine Griffith. So it was always going to be. It was meant to be. It's like saying, like, what if something that happened didn't happen? Well, I don't know what to say. It did happen. It was always going to happen. I mean... Why would he have said no? Why would he have said no?
I don't. Did you have a plan B, like, in case the worst?
There's no plan B. There was no plan B. Plan A was, we're bringing this show back. We knew that we couldn't bring Terry Silver back in season 1 because it would just be... we had to earn, like, Terry Silver to come back. So the first 3 seasons were very... I mean, one of the lessons that Miyagi teaches is patience. And for us, it was a lot of patience building this little pyramid so that at the end we could bring Thomas back. And we knew from the beginning and knew that he was going to be great.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, once he came back, and we got to know him, we learned skills that he has that we then incorporated into the show. Yeah, so playing the piano. I'm like, okay, I didn't know he played the piano. I'm like, but now Terry Silver knows how to play the piano because he seemed like the type of guy who was cultured and all that stuff. So it's been a joy. One of the best parts of Cobra Kai is bringing Thomas Ian Griffith back. And I'm so excited for season 5. I'm so excited because it's just a long time coming. It's a long time. I've been watching these clips on YouTube from Karate Kid 3 for years, way before you were even born, and just thinking about, well, what if they won? There's that one YouTuber who's always has the what ifs. You know what I'm saying? So there's always what if Robbie didn't do this or that? So I'm always intrigued by all that stuff, and I'm always well, what if Barnes had won and Cobra Kai had taken over, and what would have happened?
Season 5, right?
No, because that would have been old Terry Silver that would have taken over. This is a Terry Silver that is experienced enough that saw what happened in Karate Kid 3 like we all did. And so this is a second chance for Terry Silver. So he's not going to do silly things like give a point, take a point. He's not. This is about utter dominance and just guaranteeing victory. I was always well, here he is in season 4. He had the tournament. He needed to guarantee that victory. How do you guarantee victory? Number one, you push your students to the limit. It wasn't we're just going to cheat. Because who knows if the ref is going to be on your side or not, or cave at the end. So he had the cheating thing, but he wasn't going to rely on that either. He pushed the students so that they could be the best, and he bribed the refs. It was he wants to win, and he knows how to win. He's smart, and he's experienced. So that's what's exciting. That he's not gonna. There's no way he's going to lose, on his own, and so that's why it's exciting because you're well, then what's gonna happen? Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Speaking of that first episode, we're at this little Karate Kid musical event, and I see it looks like there's tofu skewers at this thing. It feels like we're at an original Terry party.
Please thank. Who wrote that line? Please thank. No, but please thank Cheyenne for the tofu.
Please thank Cheyenne for the tofu.
Do you know who came up with that?
We talked about that. I forget. I just know that we just talked about how that line is this. It's if you know the characters and you know the backstory and you know everything, it's just a little knife in the dagger in the heart, of enjoy your little tofu party. I'm gonna go out back into my karate war.
Yeah.
And
And I messaged you about this when I first saw the season, but I want to ask you officially. Season 4, episode 7, Anthony LaRusso says, "Don't worry about this Cobra Kai kid." I lost my cool. Was that? Did you
That's not a question, Drew. See, this is the Cobra Kai Kid's journalistic skills here. Let me guess what you're saying.
Did you
when Anthony says, don't worry about this Cobra Kai kid in episode 7? Well, here's the thing. It was you write these things. It's not like we're going out and be you know what? I want to make Cobra Kai Kid happy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's just you write things and you're just that's actually what he would say in that moment. It's don't worry about. He wouldn't say don't worry about Kenny.
Yeah, don't worry about this guy.
Don't worry about this guy in Cobra Kai. No, it's a kid. Don't worry about this kid in Cobra Kai. So we're don't worry about this Cobra Kai kid. And we're we knew. I think when that line was written, I forget who wrote it, who did whatever. I do remember being Cobra Kai kid is going to go crazy when he sees this. So there was thought that behind it of knowing that you were going to react the way that you did. and it worked.
Yeah, you saw the reaction. I emailed you.
I forget the reaction, but I know that in the moment, that must have been a fun thing.
It was amazing.
And listen, you hear I'm talking about the YouTuber who has all the what ifs.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a blessing that this was on YouTube at the beginning, because we have a huge YouTube fan community as a result of that. Like I don't know. I don't watch Stranger Things. I don't know. Like, is there the Stranger Things kid? I don't know.
I don't see that. I don't really see that with that.
But I see a lot of people, and some of it was like around the time that you did it, and then there's other people, I think, since you've done it, that are creating their own YouTube channels. I'm excited. I like, I follow them all. There's a lot of people that have thousands of followers now. And everybody's got their different angle. Some are like Ken Cole is the Terry Silver guy. And so I love the community, the YouTube Cobra Kai fan community. I'm like, you know what? It's special. It's great that this started on YouTube, and let's keep that going. Let's make it where, that's one of the special things about Cobra Kai is that we got a bunch of YouTubers that, and you've been really good about incorporating them. And I've been telling you this from the beginning that it's good. Fan the flame of the community, because it's the everybody benefits.
I know how I feel like talking to you and the cast of Cobra Kai, so I try and make my platform you asked me what's it like being a fan, but also kind of the public figure in a way. I mean, at that Live and Badass event, people were coming up to me, just like I was an actor.
That's a big deal. It's the Cobra Kai kid.
I'm really touched by it. I don't take it whatever.
You haven't let it get to your head yet.
I never.
You're not in the downfall period. You're not riding on on the success. You're not just spending each day you're not full of yourself. You're still the fan, right?
I'll always be a fan first, and I kind of view it I know you guys create the show for yourselves because you're fans. It's you're banking what you want to see, which other people want to see. That's kind of what I try and do, make videos that I want to see. I know other people. I have to tease you on a project that I'm working on that I think you guys will really love. Gene, Cobra Kai Fandom.
Oh yes.
So
Cobra
Kai Fandom. So I've been working with him. Get ready.
An animated. He animates me.
He animated you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I listen. I'm another YouTube fan that was there from the YouTube days. Cobra Kai Fandom. Huge fan of him. Obviously, Cobra Kai Companion, the podcast. I mean, there's also just podcasts out there that for the Cobra Kai site Cobra Kai that are. It's just so fun. It's so fun. It's fun because I swear to God, there's a period of time before Cobra Kai that I contemplated doing just a Karate Kid podcast. I was like, you know what? Maybe we'll do that. Because I had so much thoughts about the Karate Kid. I still think about doing it. Yeah, just a podcast that's all centered, break it up into categories the economics of Reseda and Encino, the cultural stuff, that goes on with, Okinawa and this Italian kid. There's so many different angles, and I'm so obsessed with it. I think there's so many things about life that you can find in the Karate Kid. That's why we're here tonight, and there's a musical. It's just this classic. And I've been obsessed with the Karate Kid so long. I'm glad I did the show instead of the podcast.
Yeah.
It's definitely an awesome thing. But now I see all these podcasts about the show, and it's I know what it is. I know it. We're all the same, addicted to the same drug.
Yeah.
Which is basically, underdogs getting power to beat bullies.
Yeah.
That is exciting. And bullies, underdogs, all that, the power of karate, it's just amazing.
Yeah. New character for season 5 was just announced, Kim Da-eun, right? anything you could say on that, on the new character?
I would say that I can't confirm anything. If she is related to the original Master Kim, that's not good for Daniel and Johnny and for a lot of things, because Master Kim is basically the anti-Miyagi. He is, that level of legend, but on a kind of dark side level. So if she has any relation, that just is not a good thing for the nerds of the Valley. I say this about season 5. Like, you would think it's bad to be a nerd in the Valley right now, like, because of unless you join the dark side. And it could be a good time to be a nerd. But like it's time. You have to join Silver and Silver's Cobra Kai right now, or deal with the consequences, and yeah, so we'll see what happens with Kim Da-yoon, and we'll learn more when the show comes out and as more things come out. I can't confirm anything new.
Okay. I wanted to share a theory with you that I have. I know you can't say anything, but I just want to mark it right now. Just see if that's okay.
You can judge my body language. I'm like, oh no, you figured it out.
So I have a theory on how the show will end. Is it cool if I share it? I know you can't say anything.
Yes.
All right. So my theory, just based on where everything's going, I think Johnny and Carmen are going to get married. I feel like that's how they're going to end. I think that's how the whole show will end. And I feel like it will be like a perfect opportunity to bring everyone together. Sort of like, I've seen TV shows like the finale, you bring everyone together. And then I also have another theory that with John Kreese heading towards a redemption arc, from my perspective, I think he's going to sacrifice himself to save Daniel or Johnny in like a big heroic moment, like kind of like a Darth Vader, like sacrificing his life.
Now that you've said this, it's definitely not going to be those things. So if it was, those cards are off the board. Okay? So you may have just altered.
Sorry.
Now, I will say this. I'll say this. We think about where people would think it's going to end. And we also think about where we want it to end. Sometimes it's like the two merge, and other times it's like, you know what, can we subvert it? Can we do something different? I think that there's been times on the show where people have predictions of things, and then it's like they happen, but they don't happen at the end of the series. It happens as a stepping stone along the way. Like, some people may have said, like, Johnny and Daniel coming together is the end of our series. And, for us, it was like, no, and I would say it's less Kreese's redemption that we're concerned about than Johnny's, anyway, I'm just saying, in terms of where the show goes and where we want to take it, it's really about where we want the characters to end up. Whether or not there's a wedding or redemptions or Kreese doing something, we'll see. But it may happen, may not happen, because we know, if it's that, we don't want things to be predictable.
Yeah.
But we also want things to be enjoyable. It won't be sometimes the most unpredictable ending. It's like you wouldn't predict we ended it in a crappy way.
Yeah.
And it's unpredictable, but it's crappy. No, you want it to be really good, and you want it to be true. And there's things that we've talked about the whole way through, but then you change your mind along the way. So now that you've said this, it's all changed.
It's not going to happen. But I've always said, though, that because you guys brought this back, this Karate Kid ended the happy ending. Daniel wins the tournament. Johnny, in a way, said good match over, so it kind of ended happy, but you guys reopened it. I feel like my thing is if you're reopening it, I think this is a second chance to really end the series with everybody. Now we're good. We don't it's put a none of this.
I'll be honest, as the show goes on and we've had more success and there's all this fandom, we don't want it to end.
No, don't.
Now, so I know that it's people don't want things to drag out. I don't want things to drag out. Yeah. I'm just enjoying. I love the Karate Kid. I love Cobra Kai. I love these characters, and I don't believe in life that there's just a happy ending at age 18 or at age 50, whatever. I think that life finds a way of throwing new curveballs in, and it's about picking and choosing your moment to end. I think they chose the moment at the end of Karate Kid, which was a happy ending for Daniel. But I always said, like, you never saw the next day. Yeah, Johnny gave the trophy. But, like, what happened the next day? How does he feeling? In school the next day, seeing, like, Daniel and Alli walking arm in arm down the hallway. I don't think he liked that. I don't think it was, like, I think that there's a little bit of bitterness there. Like, he had to suck it up. I think he did suck it up, but he bottled it up. And then you see years later, he's been bottling, and then he opens it in episode 1, and, you know, all hell breaks loose. So, you know, the cycle repeats itself.
History.
You know, history repeats itself, as Joe Esposito once said. So we'll see. Anything is possible.
Yeah, and just something that really fascinates me. Like, I always was curious about this. You know, as like a writer and a creator, when you're creating this show, there's a lot of like history involved. The Okinawa history, Kreese's military. So there's a lot of like facts that you got to get right. So when there's things that you're writing that you don't know, maybe some like Okinawan text or some like history, like what's that process? Do you go on Google? Do you talk to someone?
We both. Everything. We talk to people who are experts. We go on Google. We have been talking to Robert Kamen since season 2, before each season, about some of the karate stuff. So, and I'll tell you this. In season 5, there's a climactic moment in the season that we talked about with Robert beforehand, that he gave some advice on, that we incorporated, and it's one of my favorite things in the season. So, you know, he's a student of Goju-Ryu karate. He is, you know, he was the student of the real Shoja Miyagi's students. So anything that's like karate related, we usually talk to him about. And then, sometimes it's as simple as going online and Googling and Wikipedia and all that. And then other times, you know, you have writers who have different backgrounds that help you out, or you seek out people with different backgrounds, or stunt performers, or stunt coordinators, I should say. So that's it. You know?
I just find it like the dialogue. Some of the dialogue, if it's like if you don't know the topic, I just find that interesting. How
do research? You know what you want it to be?
Yeah.
You maybe don't know the words.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know Tang Sudo, but I learned it. I learned that was something that was a big thing in the Korean War. That, you know, people like Chuck Norris and Pat Johnson, who was the referee in the original Karate Kid, they learned, you know, their style of martial arts, you know, Tang Sudo, during the Korean War. And Robert, you know, Kamen told us a little bit about that, how it's linear, how it's just like you come right at you, you know, and whereas, you know, Goju-Ryu is more circular. Yeah. So we've incorporated that on the show, and we've incorporated that, you know, in terms of like, obviously Master Kim existed before, you know, Cobra Kai, but, you know, thinking about, like, sometimes you have to develop these rich backstories, even if you're not going to delve into it that much. You know, you want to feel like there's some sort of truth. It's based on something that people in the martial arts community can be like, oh yeah, that is something that, you know, where there's realism there.
Yeah.
All right.
I appreciate this so much.
Sure.
I could talk to you for hours. I'm sure you know that.
I know.
You're awesome.
I know.
I really appreciate this.
Yes.
Enjoy the tofu.
Okay,
Thanks, Cheyenne,
thank you.
for the tofu.
I will thank Cheyenne.